Hi, my name is Liz Scott, and I know there's a lot of confusion right now about how to fill out the various loans that are available that are because of the COVID disaster. So, what I want to do is just walk you through the loans and what the process is, and let you know where there's resources for you to be able to reach out and get some help. So, let me just go ahead and share with you how to get started and what that looks like. So let me go ahead and get you seeing the process because I want to be able to just share with you how to get started. Either if you're going to reach out to somebody like myself who helps small businesses get this process started by filling out the loans to assist you, or if you want to do it yourself, I'm just going to kind of walk you through what this process is and what your options are. So there's actually 4 different loan programs, so I'm going to kind of give you a brief overview of what those are. And then also, I'm going to really focus on the 2 that most businesses are interested in, which is the Payroll Protection Program, which people are calling the PPP loan, and then also the COVID-19 loan, which is actually a part of a larger SBA disaster loan program. This is just the abbreviated version of it that is going to get the $10,000 that everybody's talking about. So let's go through. My name is Liz Scott, and so in order to be able to get a hold of me, you can reach out to my firm Accounting Lifeline, and we do a lot of monthly services for small businesses that revolve around QuickBooks and helping them with their monthly bookkeeping. So we also do this roundtable that's part of this ongoing education, and this is part of the services that we do is we do education like this to just stay connected and getting together, and we just talk about QuickBooks small business issues. So the 4 different loans that are available is the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So this larger loan, this is available if somebody had a business that was wiped out by a big disaster, and say a tornado in Oklahoma came and wiped out your business, or burned down by a fire. You would go to the government and you would say, I need to apply for a loan in order to be able to maintain some normalcy. So you would ask for an SBA loan. Well, what the government came out and said is that everybody has been affected by this disaster. And so they said there's this new COVID-19 SBA Express loan. And so that's what everybody's able to apply for if you've been adversely affected or will be by this virus. So that's going to be one of the ones that we're going to focus on. And then there's also the Paycheck Protection Program. And so that's the one that's being called the PPP program. So those are the 2 main focuses. And then there's also the SBA Bridge loan. And so that one's probably one of the loans that's being utilized the least right now. But if you needed to be able to maintain, you could go ahead and apply for that one. And then there's also some state agencies that are offering some loans. So really, you could actually say that there's 5. But let's go ahead and focus on the first one that is going to be the Paycheck Protection Program. So this is the one that I'm getting the most calls for, that people are saying, how do I maintain my employees? How do I keep that normalcy going? And the way that that works is that we're going to go through what does that look like, what's the forgivable part of that loan, and then what are the lender requirements, and then being able to say who can prepare those loans for you, and then what's the information that is required from the borrowers, and then how do you fill out the applications. And so we're going to go through all of that. And one of the things that we know is happening with this Paycheck Protection Program is that the government has said all of these businesses that were operating normally had income coming in and that they could employ their people. Well, now that there's no income coming in, or the income has been reduced, now there's not enough money to pay all the employees. And so all of these employees are scrambling and they're going out and they're filing for unemployment. And so in order to be able to kind of halt that behavior, what the government said is we're going to essentially funnel money through the businesses to act kind of like unemployment, truly. And so what that's going to do is that's going to actually allow the businesses to function and operate, and it's going to give the employees a little sense of normalcy. So instead of going out and filing for unemployment, which most employees have never done before, so it's a foreign behavior, it makes them feel very anxious and have a lot of anxiety because now they're unemployed, they don't have jobs, and it's a lot of financial uncertainty. This program is available for normalcy. So the reason that there's this payroll protection program is that what you can do is you essentially are keeping the structure intact. Your employees stay intact, the business stays intact during a time whenever you don't have normal income coming through. So we're going to go through the application process so that way your employees don't have to go and file for unemployment. So if we look at, this is the newly revised loan. I don't know what date you're going to be looking at this recording, but today is April 3rd. This is the first day that you can actually apply for the loan. And there was an application floating around a few days prior to today, and this is the newly revised version of that loan application. So that's what this looks like. And so you go through and you have some formulas that you have to fill out. So hopefully you have good bookkeeping so you are able to fill out these numbers. If you don't, remember Accounting Lifeline, we do these bookkeeping for our clients, and we have been asked to do some catch up for people. They're like, please help us get our numbers so that way we can apply for this. So we are doing that 2019 catch up bookkeeping. So if you need help, let us know. So what is this PPP loan? How to calculate the cost? It's based on that 2.5 payroll cost. So how much are you paying your employees? And so we kind of look at your W-2s, we look at your 941s, we calculate that, and then how much is forgivable. We go through that process with you, and then we also how much is that the loan is going to be forgivable, and we look at the required docs that you have to submit along with this loan, because you've got to be able to back it up and say, this in fact was the amounts that I paid my employees. And there's a couple of different ways that people are calculating that number. So one of the easiest ways to calculate that is by looking at your 2019 payroll, and then you do an average of that monthly payroll that you gave. So you take the 2019 12 months, divide it by 12, and that's your monthly average, and then you take it and say the maximum amount that you would be allowed is the 2.5. So then you have to say, but here's my documentation to prove that I actually did pay those employees that. So we can walk you through that process. So here's the maximum amount that's allowed. The interest rate on the money, so if you got this loan and then you did not get the total forgiveness, it's cheap money. So the stakes are pretty low here. You have 2 years to pay it back at 0.5%. 0.5%. The other thing that we know about this is if you do use it for payroll, 100% of it is forgivable. But if you use 25% of it on other things, your utilities, your rent, your mortgage interest, some of the other allowable okay things to spend it on, then those things are going to be formulated to be able to say that you're going to have to pay that part back. But you have to use at least 75% of it on payroll, because remember, you're essentially keeping things normal and the employees are not running out and asking for unemployment. They're staying inside of the business. So that's the reason for these rules. I think they're very smart rules, but you can apply between April 3rd, which is today, through June 30th. So as you can imagine, the banks today are scrambling to try and get this in place. So you must go through your bank or an SBA lender, and then once the application is approved, it's a very fast-tracked process, and so you're going to be able to get your money faster than if you went through the standard SBA loan funding. There is no personal collateral or guarantor on these loans. Unusual. Nonprofits can also apply for this, but then there's also going to be another program that's going to be available for contractors and self-employed. If you have laid off some of your employees, this is a question that I've been asked, you can actually rehire those people back with no penalty. So that's something that many people are asking. Yes, hire those people back. That's part of this program, because remember, they want you to pull back those people into your business. So they want to reduce the panic. So what you do is you calculate your wages for those 12 months prior to the 2015. So some people, what they're doing is they're saying, how much was my wages from January to it's actually February 30th date. And so you can say what was my average for that time period, or you can do what the easiest calculation is to be able to say my 2019 payroll divided by 12 gives me my average. And then healthcare is how some of this money can be calculated, and then retirement plans are part of it. And part of the cost is calculated based on your sales tax and local taxes. So you can use this money to pay for those types of costs. And independent contractors and wages, I don't think that applies anymore. I think that that is outdated information, so that really doesn't belong here anymore. What we have been told is that this money is actually not for them, because they're going to be able to go out and apply for their own loans. So that is not part of this. So that is a note that needs to be scratched off of here. I'm going to go ahead and just advance, because that is wrong information at this point. We've been given new guidance as of today. How will the loan be forgiven? What you need to do is that you need to spend this money in 8 weeks, because remember, they're giving us the monthly average of our payroll times 2.5. So what we're doing is we're essentially paying for 2 months of payroll, plus we get that 0.5 to pay for other expenses. So that what they want us to do is pay for the payroll cost, and then any other benefits, and then we have rent and utilities, and then we can also calculate some accounts payable that happened prior to 2015. They don't want you to go get new debt, but you can actually calculate some prior accounts payable. But remember, that's not going to be part of the full forgiveness piece. The payroll, the benefits, that's going to be part of the full forgiveness piece. So you're going to be able to ask for forgiveness after you've used the money. So one of the things that we're doing is we're actually keeping a sheet internally within our firm at Accounting Lifeline. We're saying, we're tracking, here's how much money that you've requested. And every single time inside of your bookkeeping, whenever we see that you've used those funds, we have a spreadsheet that we're keeping track of and saying, here's the money has been used. So that way the 60 days is up, and after June 30th, the government says, prove to us how you used it, so that way we could issue this forgiveness. We're first in line to be able to ask for that forgiveness. And this is just saying that if you've used 100% of the loan on payroll expenses, then 100% of your loan will be considered for the forgiveness. If you've used 25% of it for non-payroll expenses, then that 25% is going to be subject to that 0.5% interest rate. Still cheap money. You must retain your full head count. What this is saying is, if you have an employee who says, I don't feel safe to come back to work, I don't want to, then it is okay to employ another person who says, I will gladly take that job. So you can employ a different person. That head count has to stay the same. And you can't give employee wages. I don't know about hazard pay. Honestly, I haven't heard the ruling on that. So that's something that I understand that is a question, but I don't know what the final ruling is. You have until June 30th to restore your full employment, because that is whenever the last day of your application can be submitted. I don't know how long these funds are going to be available. So if you put your application in on June 30th, I don't know that there's really going to be funds with this $2 trillion. So I would say the sooner the better. That's why I'm making this video, to help people understand the process. So the required documents, there's lots of required documents that have been coming out. So there's more than just this, but there's the application that has to be filled out. You're going to have to put in your payroll cost. You're going to have to submit the W-2s. the 941s. You're going to have to put in health insurance and retirement benefits. There's several other things that you're going to have to do is make sure that you have a banking relationship. You're going to have to make sure that your lender is an approved SBA agent, and then also your recent tax returns. So if you don't have 2019 tax returns, you're going to have to submit your 2019 financial statements. And that's where I was saying that our firm can help you get caught up if you need that. So the other thing is there are some agent additional required documents that if you need help doing this, there's some forms there that have to be filled out. So this is some of the things that you're signing off on. You're saying that due to economic uncertainty, that you are asking for these loans. So you're not sure what the future holds. Makes sense. That's why you're asking for these loans, and it's going to be used for payroll and rent and utilities. You're not going to be asking for a second PPP loan. You can ask for other loans, but not a second PPP loan. And then that you are going to provide the required documentation for payroll, rents, utilities, and that you will pay back the non-forgiven portion of this loan, and that you're not going to go gambling, and you're not going to go on vacation, you're not going to go do anything illegal, buy drugs, whatever. So it makes sense. Yeah, I get it. So then you'll be prosecuted if you do. All right, seems like a pretty easy thing to say I get it. So you fill out the form, you enter in your dollar amounts for the average times 2, the number of jobs over here. This is so that way they can come back later on and say, look how many jobs we saved. So this is an area that people are coming to me and saying, do you mean how many jobs, how many contracts I have going right now? No, it's how many heads do you have that are employed? That's what they mean right here. Because when all of this comes out, they want to be able to say, as the heroes, how many people did this program keep intact? So remember, they want to keep normalcy. So that's what that's about. If you're confused about it, hopefully that just cleared it up. This is all about how did they keep the head counts in place. All right, so here's what we're doing. We're saying this is our form that we're keeping track of for all of our people. So that way on June 30th, when they say submit all of your documents saying that that the loans can be forgiven, this is what we're doing. This is our documentation of that. So we're coming over here and we're saying total payroll cost, the average, then we're doing our calculation of the 2.5, and then we're saying to every person, do you want to request the full amount? If so, okay. Then we're coming down here and we're just doing a projection of the month. So all right, we're going to say monthly average, any benefits that are included, and then we're going to say this is that 0.5 with a monthly expenses coming down here, and then putting in the allowable things that we know that that money can be spent on. So for every person, we're saying, here's when we think the money will come in, here's when it was actually used, and here's what it was used for. So soon as that money is allowed to be forgiven, we're making sure that we're first in line for that. So that's something we can help you with. So let's go ahead and talk about the other loan. So this is the second loan program that's available that a lot of businesses are wanting to take advantage of. So this is the COVID loan. So this is the SBA Economic Injury Disaster Loan application that has been shortened, because remember, this is the part of the bigger loan that if your business was destroyed by a fire that you could apply for, but they said every business has been affected by this virus. So we're issuing this shorter, condensed, expressed version of this program. And this is what it looks like. So you go through and you've got some requirements that you've got to go through, and we're going to look at what that loan looks like. So you can apply for this online. You've got some requirements you have to go through, and you have to say, are you a business with fewer than 500 employees? Probably. And then, are you an individual who operates as a sole proprietor? I'm going to say most people are going to fall into those first categories, and that's who I help. So if you're one of those top two, then that's somebody that I would say, go ahead and reach out to me. Those are the people that I help. People who are larger than 500, that's, I help none of those people. So I would probably refer you to somebody else. employee-owned businesses. Yep, so tribal businesses, you would just check the box and you would put in here that you are one of those. Nonprofits definitely can apply for this too. So then you come over here and you say, these are the questions that you're going to be asked next. So, are you legal? Are you delinquent on your child support? Are you an agricultural business? Are you in porn? That one's just wacky to me. Are you in gambling? Are you a lobbyist? And lastly, are you a member of Congress? And if you say no, or you go ahead and check the box to each of those, yes, you are a business less than 500, or you go ahead and check all the boxes, then you can advance to the next page of the application, and then you put in the business owner information. So here you would now advance to the third section of that application, and you enter in those business individual pieces of information. And then it's going to ask you 3 additional questions on the next page. And it says, have you been convicted of a criminal offense? Have you been suspended from receiving government grants? So have you done something that has gotten you into trouble? And then, are you under indictment or criminal investigation? So if you say yes to any of those, you do not qualify for this grant, this government loan that will be given as a grant later. And then lastly, there is this piece of it that says, is somebody helping you to fill out this application? And so you would enter in the details of that person who's helping you. And then the last piece of it is then you would put in, this is wrong over here, it should say the COVID loan application. Sorry, I kind of put this together quickly. But then the last part of it says that you would like to be considered for the $10,000. You put in your bank information, your account details, your routing details, and then you certify this. And then they're going to deposit this money into your bank account. So it's pretty quick, it's fast. If you use the money on your business responsibly, these funds are forgiven. So there's more information that's going to be given to us soon, but people have already started receiving these $10,000. So I know of businesses that have already gotten theirs. It's fast, and you know, if you haven't done it yet, reach out. I'll help you go through this process, or hopefully this was enough information to get you through it. If you want to connect with me, you can definitely reach out to me. Probably the best way to do so is to either go straight over to my website and book some time on my calendar. You can do that directly, or you could go over to my email address and you could connect with me that way. I also want to share with you some resources that are available on my website. So that way, if you wanted to go look for things yourself, here's my website, accountinglifelineok.com. And then you can see QuickBooks is what I do. And if you come over here, you can find more information. So you just can head straight over here to the details, and you can see everything that we just talked about. Here are the 4 different loans that are available. You can read through. Here's the links. So these are loan links for all of these. You can see these are hyperlinks. Here's that bridge loan that most people are wanting these too. So if you're looking for the application, you can go straight to my website and you can land on those. And then if you're wanting more information about the Paycheck Protection Program, you can see there's resources here, so you can go straight to the application available there. So all you got to do is just click on that and it's going to open it for you and you can walk through it. Or if you're saying, I have no idea, Liz, let me just reach out to you. You can come back over here to my website and you can see right here, click to schedule a meeting. It's going to open up my calendar, and then all you have to do is click on a day and you're going to say, yep, I want that time, and you just book it directly. I'll get an email and boom, we're then connected, and we'll go through your wherever you're at. If you're needing bookkeeping help to get you ready for being able to apply, or if your bookkeeping is up to date and you just need help filling out the forms. That's all for now. Stay tuned. As things change, you know, we might need to update this. I'd love to hear how your progress is going, and we'll just stay up to date as we go. Signing off for now. Bye.